Muslims.
The problem that Muslims are likely to corner themselves with this kind of questions, they will say, they will try to come up with a religious approach in trying to attempt that. Muslims are not terrorists and all that. But the question in itself appears to be very generic. And the terrorist groups, we know, they are well known of being referred to Muslims. But however, we don't even have to attach any kind of religion in asking that. And say, for example, we can just say a thief himself is a terrorist within the community, and it can be a Christian, it can be anybody. Yes, sometimes they're an atheist. Such kind of people, we know their role, they can be imprisoned and all that. We can just take it at that light. I think.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think I mentioned to you guys on Monday the question that this one guy from the Department of Education asked me. Did I give you that example? So the guy asked me, after we had a meeting in the department, he was a local Christian guy. So we finished the meeting and he asked me, I'm going to ask you something. So I says, fire away, go ahead. So he says, here's the question, exact word for word. Why are you Muslims always fighting? Why are you Muslims always fighting? So I told him, explain. He says, you know, when you look at news coming out of the Middle East, you look at Muslim countries, wherever there's Muslim, there's some kind of problem or the other. And I think that was the background for that was what was happening in Gaza. So now, the question, see, you have to understand the motivation of the questioner. That's very, very important. How you answer depends, and we'll go into those points a little later on. It depends on the question. Now this we can see, this is what we call fitna, right? The guy is just asking this question to create problems. But that guy was asking me, I could see that there was some sincerity. He wants to know about us Muslims. So then I gave him an example. I told him, when South Africa was under apartheid rule, right, when the majority of the population was being oppressed by the apartheid government, what did the likes of Mr. Mandela do? He says, well, we fought. So I smiled at him and says, well, there's your answer. That's all Muslims want. They're fighting for their rights. Wherever they are, wherever you see these problems, look under the, beyond the media, and you'll see that there's genuine problems, and Muslims are standing up and saying, you know what, leave us alone, let us appoint our own leaders, we don't want the West to interfere in our affairs. And he understood, because I brought it home for him. I made him understand. You understand? I could have gone on a different route. If I misread his question, I could have attacked him. I could have taken this as an attack to Islam. But alhamdulillah, from then to now, him and I became good friends. And we've been talking very, very regularly. I think this week we spoke again. So we have to understand who is saying, who is asking the question, and what was the reason. And when it comes to trolls like this, I think where we can, we should answer. Maybe we can't answer every troll on the internet, but at least in certain cases where we come across them, answer them. It's not for them. This guy, Richard, is not interested about the truth of Islam. He's not interested, he's not worried about the innocent people that are being murdered or whatever. He's only interested in making a mockery of Islam. Now, we're going to answer this question for the person that's innocent. You know, the vast majority of the population is just on the fence. They neither hear nor there. They're not bad people, right? But they don't know the truth. So we are answering that question for them, so they understand it. Because just as we don't trust mainstream media sometimes, there was a Gallup poll conducted in USA, I think it was last year, and you know what they found? 75% almost of their population, of the American population, doesn't trust mainstream media. So the CNNs, the ABCs, they don't trust it themselves. So where are they going to go? To the internet. Now we need to take advantage of that fact. Because we don't trust the American mainstream media, fine, but the Americans themselves don't trust it, then there's an opportunity for us. Now, just continuing, this is the answer that lady gave to this thing here. Well, you can see where she's from. And this, wallahi, I saw this well before I even came to know about that I'll be speaking to brothers in Saudi, from Saudi. This is her answer. Make it bigger. Okay, she says, hello Richie, killing of innocent people is wrong and there is no excuse for killing innocent people. I condemn murder and injustice regardless of who did it. Islam teaches us to be just and not to let our enmity or hate for any person or people make us commit injustice. And she's got a quote. She says, check my favorite quote in my profile for proof. And that quote is a Quran ayat where Allah Ta'ala mentions about justice. We are to fight those who fight us and be good to those who do not fight us, nor oppress us. Allah said in the Quran, and she quotes the translation, Allah does not forbid you from those who do not fight you because of religion and do not expel you from your homes, from being righteous to them. I think this is in 28 juz of the Quran. La yanhakum Allahu anil ladina lam yuqatilukum min diyarikum. And she concludes, indeed Allah loves those who act justly. What do you guys think about that answer? Not just because she's Saudi, right? Be objective now. I think it's a good answer. I think it's a brilliant answer. She wasn't apologetic. She was straight to the point. You leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. We don't, show the other cheek when somebody slaps us. As Muslims, we stand up for our rights. This was, I think, quite a while back, September 24th. Today is already gone, about coming on 3rd of October, almost 2 weeks. Richie Rich never came back. This was on Interpals, a site called Interpals.
I never know this.
Yeah, it's, before the days of internet, Interpals was an organization for pen pals. You would write a letter and put it and send it. So I was on that site and I came across this from here. There's a lot of people, generally because of misconception. Now, the reason I recommend we give answers to this kind of thing, and we give good answers like this that you gave. The one thing I don't find Muslims doing is, whenever Islam is attacked, use the way of the Sahaba. How did the Sahaba respond to attacks on Islam? How did they respond? They would stand and deliver. They would talk about the beauty of Islam. Because they say one little candlelight will chase away an infinite amount of darkness. So we as Muslims, yes, we go to the point and we answer the question, but we must also take the opportunity to explain a few points about the beauty of Islam. Like, for example, I'm a Muslim, I believe in one God, I believe in all his messengers like Jesus, Abraham, and Moses. We are taught to pray, to give charity, to stand up for injustice, no matter where it's taking place, no matter who, and to always speak the truth. What about that you don't like? See, now that kind of thing is what the Sahaba would do. This is what our Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam taught us. I remember reading one incident where a Sahabi, I think it was Hazrat Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu, who was talking to one of the Roman generals, and they asked him about Islam. And he just delivered, he just said it exactly as it is. It was like, almost you think the Sahaba had a standard answer, that they would give more or less the same answer every time. But there was intelligence behind it. The idea behind that was to speak about the beauty of Islam. See, because we got a good product to offer. We don't have to knock down anybody else's religion to speak about our, except where they're attacking us. Where they're attacking us, we give back. So we should do a lot of that also. Okay, then getting closer to what Brother Ibrahim was saying, fake sites that are out there. Sites posing as Islamic, they even have Muslim-sounding names, but they are very racist and Islamic, full of anti-Islamic propaganda. And the whole idea is to confuse the masses. There's two such sites that are live. One is called thequran.com. What would you think? Sounds good. And when you go to the site, it looks very, very nice. They got tafsir, they got ayat, and you can click on any surah, pick any ayat, look at the tafsir. But immediately after that, you'll see a red button there, errors in this verse, and they come and they bring a whole lot of nonsense that doesn't even exist. Things that we know as Muslims don't even are totally trumped up. Any little amount of research you do, you know that there's lots of errors. A particularly vicious side is this one, the religion of peace. Again, trumped up stories, they take things that happen, a small thing, and they make a big thing of it. Really, really a racist side. Like for example, they put a picture like this. They put it on this side, this is from that side, the religion of peace. The whole idea is to knock down Islam and the Muslims, especially the Arab Muslims. Now, these kind of sites we have to be very, very wary of. We have to be very, very careful of. Now, these guys they're not thinking about dialogue. They're not thinking about talking one-on-one. They're being paid to do all this. This is but the one nice thing when we take comfort in things like this is we see that they have to resort to lies and deception. I mean, to make a name of a site like that. The Quran.com, the religion of peace, they have to resort to things like that. And we can shame them by saying that, why do you have to resort to this? If you've got something good to offer the world, offer it to the world. Why do you have to knock down somebody else's, use deception to knock down our faith? So, sometimes it's nice that we play victim also. Okay, my last slide deck is, this one is more to do with how to engage people online. When you are talking online, how to get your message across. It's a very generic slide. It's not particularly related to the subject of Dawah, but you can apply these principles to Dawah, you can apply it to any argument, any debate that you are having. Alright, so I call it ideas that spread win. 10 steps to getting your ideas to spread. How do we get our message across in an effective way? And most of this is specifically for online Dawah. Number one, most importantly, whenever you are saying anything online, make sure you know what you are talking about. If you are going to do Dawah online, you're going to be faced with a lot of questions, with a lot of criticism, with a lot of lies. You need to be able to answer. Particularly, one of the favorite things that they bring up is history. They talk about things like Islam was spread by the sword and things like that. Now, do you know your Islamic history? Do you know the history of the Crusades? Do you know what happened, how Bayt al-Maqdis was conquered by Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu? Do you know all these things? If you don't, then learn it, because with this knowledge of our own religion, can we counter that? And we also need to have some knowledge of their religion and what they are talking about, so we can counter whatever accusations they put against us. We counter an accusation with an accusation. Number two, big problem I find on discussion forums is that people don't define the terms of the discussion. What happens is, we start off on a topic, and along comes a troll and diverts the topic completely. And that's their job, that's what they do. So a Muslim is talking something sensible, right? And then a troll comes along and makes some very, very ugly statements, and now we find that the whole topic has gone that way. So what we need to do is, there is a topic of discussion taking place, we make sure we keep that topic on track. We don't let it diversify, we don't let it digress in any way. And anybody wants to add anything at any time, please don't hesitate. So define the terms of the discussion, very critical, very important. Number three, develop and back up your reasoning. Think about something. How are you logically going to explain something, and make sure you have backup, that you can back up what you're saying with facts. Don't make statements that you can't back up. Don't say, but yes, Christians are terrorists. No, you don't say that. That's a derogatory statement. That's a racist statement. We don't say things like that. What we're going to say is, but didn't the Muslim Crusaders walk into Jerusalem in so-and-so year, massacre the Muslim and Jewish population? Didn't this happen? No, that's a fact. Nobody can deny that. So make sure you got your reasoning right. Try to attack these things in a very systematic, logical way, so that people can understand what you are saying. This is one thing lacking in us Muslims: confidence and assertiveness. Don't get defensive. They'll try. The trolls will try to put you in the defense. They'll say, You Saudi, just like Bin Laden. Okay, finished. But you should be like Muhammad Ali, the boxer. Remember Muhammad Ali, the boxer? Somebody asked him, what do you think about, a Christian guy asked him, what do you think about Bin Laden being in the same religion as you? So he asked the guy, what do you think about Hitler being in the same religion as you? So that guy kept quiet and he went away. He didn't say anything. So we don't know what the truth is, what the facts are, but the portrayal in the West is that Bin Laden was a bad guy and a terrorist and everything. So we have to answer, we have to counter this, but we have to be confident when we're doing this. We can't go into defense. No, don't be scared. Stand and deliver. You're a Muslim, you are on the haqq, you are on the truth. You got the mandate from Allah Ta'ala and His Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And that guy is on the batil and he knows it. He knows he's on the batil. And you know you're on the haqq. So stand and deliver. Be confident in what you are saying. Another problem we as Muslims have, we just can't stay calm. We get worked up emotionally. And as Muslims, sometimes it's hard because we love our religion, we love our Quran, we love our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So we can't, yes, we don't have the tolerance of people speaking bad against our religion. Yes, Muslims are intolerant. They make it sound like it's a bad thing. No, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It shows that we still hold on to values. Unlike you people who chuck your religion away, unlike you people who constantly make a mockery of your religion, don't expect us to do that. So remember, stay calm. There are some very bad things that are being said, especially when it comes to the trolls. But don't digress. Stay calm and say things that are logical. I'll give you one example. On Google Plus, there was a discussion at the height during Ramadan, and this Muslim girl wrote about. And here's another thing. I don't know, for some reason, Muslim females seem to be more active than males on things like this, right? It hasn't been statistically proven, it's just my experience. So she wrote about the situation in Gaza and about her pain and the hurt that she feels about what's going on. But she never attacked anyone. She never spoke bad against the Zionist regime. It was a very, very balanced article. She was passionate. She wasn't insulting. She wasn't attacking anybody. She was just saying, let's try and find a solution to this. And so there was a discussion. Now, the moment you do that, there's two things you're going to notice. One is you'll get the vast majority of people coming in support. And then you'll find comments coming from the United States, from places in Europe, from Australia, supporting and saying, you know what, you're talking sense. It makes sense. We can do this. It can happen. It can work. Then you get the trolls coming there. Obviously, the trolls must come and start saying derogatory things, very bad things, like somebody said, that Palestinians, Allah forgive us for saying this, Palestinian animals, they deserve to die. And then disappear, that's it. Now, one Muslim chap got worked up by this. Somebody from I don't know where, and he put a statement, horrible statement, death to the Jews. Totally wrong thing to do. And you know who jumped on him? It was the Christians that jumped on him, the Americans and the Europeans. They say, you know what, you shouldn't say things like this. You are part of the problem, not part of the solution. Be careful what you say. Because you saying things like that, they want you to sound like a nutcase. You guys know what the meaning of nutcase, huh? Mad person, Majnoon. They want you to sound like a Majnoon, like a terrorist. And then they'll say, see, we told you, that's how Muslims are. So they work you up for that reason. The reason they work you up is to make you say things like that and make you sound bad. But you don't say things like that. No matter what they say, you always بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. That's how we talk, because we are the civilized people, unlike them. Yes, sir.
What I want to know is, you get the trolls that are asking questions, right? What about the trolls or the people that also answer the questions, that have a little knowledge of Islam, and they are answering the questions that the troll posed? Like another person that's not part of Islam, but he has a little knowledge, and he'll answer that question like a troll to make it seem that we are bad people.
You mean he's answering as a Muslim?
Yeah.
I think that's really a big problem, because it's so easy to sign up as a Christian or as somebody from another religion, even though we're Muslims, and deceive. But what we need to do is, see, there's one way to counter that is for us to be there as Muslims. And you now speak to that person in a condescending way, and you say, look, I don't know if you're really a Muslim, but if you are a Muslim, you shouldn't say this because of this and that and that and that reason. This is what our religion teaches us. We don't blame the whole religion because of one person's actions or something like that. So that's that's the only difference because it's happening. It's a fact, it is happening. I mean, there are people that are hired by the forces of evil to portray themselves as Muslim and to purposely and deliberately go and say wrong types of things on the web. There's no avoiding that. It's a strategy that they are using. All right, point 6, use critical analysis, questions, rhetorical skills, and wit. You have to. This is what wins people over. Critical analysis. When a person says something, analyze what he is saying, understand what he is saying, and then respond using questions, rhetorical questions also, and be a bit witty about it. Be a bit funny and a bit jokey. That's what people like. You know, if you're too serious, then people, you know, they generally tend to move away from you. Try to be a bit witty also, so you can answer these questions with a nice humorous joke or something. But these are skills, obviously, that don't come overnight. Some people are born with it, but most of us, we have to learn this. Rhetorical questions, very, very, very powerful, very important. Ask questions rather than giving answers. Don't be, you know, in the like a cricket match, you know, where you're the batsman and they just keep throwing balls at you and you just have to keep hitting like a baseball. No. Make it like tennis. They give something, you give something back. Make it like that. It must be a two-way thing. Of course, there must be give and take. Give an inch, take a mile. Sometimes you must agree with the opponent and say, I agree with you, and what you're saying makes sense. You know, like for example, as Muslims, if a Muslim gets some bad publicity in the media, we say, yes, you know, that we don't comment, that kind of thing, that is bad. But then you come back and you use another approach after that. Give an inch, take a mile. Be willing to let some go so that you can gain in the long run. Very, very importantly, people that you are speaking to, gain their trust. And people that are potentially reading what you are saying, win trust. Once you win trust, then whatever you say, people are willing to buy. And as Muslims, it's not hard to win people's trust. Just speak about the beauty of Islam, speak about what the contributions Muslims have done, and inshallah, the trust will come. Very important, identify people's motivations. Like an example I gave you of that brother I was speaking to, or that non-Muslim guy that I was speaking to, I have to take a few seconds to think about his motivation. Was he asking me this question, why are Muslims always fighting? Was he asking me this to attack me, or was he asking this to clarify a doubt in his own mind? And I decided ultimately that the idea behind this question was to clarify. Now, where we in a doubt, you rather err on the side of caution. If you're still not 100% sure, what is the reason, motivation behind this question here, then give that person the benefit of doubt. Think to yourself, now he's asking sincerely, and then answer in that way. Your answer will be formulated and structured exactly based on what your interpretation of that question is. If your interpretation is that this person is asking in a good way, then you obviously almost go into the defensive. But if the person is asking for reasons of fitna, then you go on the offensive. Then you attack. Then you go all out and you say, you know what, this and that and that. And I know this sounds rude, but sometimes we need to be told this as Muslims. Shut up and listen. It's not always about talking, it's also about listening, about getting a sense of what people are thinking. A lot of times, you may find a negative statement, something negative coming up, but it's not because the person is really a bad person. If you look at what's being said or what's being written, you'll understand there's some kind of frustration, because these people are being pumped by media with all false information. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine works in a school in Australia. He's a South African, he moved over there. And opposite the road from the school, there was this Christian Australian white European lady living. And she was the most horrible person you can ever imagine. Every single thing that the school did, she opposed it. She complained to the municipality, she complained to the government. When cars come and park, they pick up their children, drop off their children. She got a complaint about that. The school wanted to expand, she put a spanner in the works. So every possible way that she could give the school grief, she gave them grief. But then they countered this with kindness. So then they started, now and again, say, let's go and take her permission whenever we want to do something. Let's give her a gift. A couple of times she chased them away, very viciously. Get out! So, but then they persisted, they continued. They said, let's win this over with kindness. And slowly but surely, they got to know her. They got to know who this lady was, and she kind of warmed up to them, and then she came on to the fact that her son was killed in, I think it was in Afghanistan. And since then she had this bitter hatred for Muslims because she holds every Muslim responsible for that. But then they explained to her about all of it and she understood. And alhamdulillah, when she died, she became so close to them, she left their property to the school. So you understand, listen sometimes where people are coming from. If we understand people's backgrounds, we understand what their motivations are, then we can win. We can win a lot of battles for the minds and the hearts of people. And brothers, I apologize for taking so much of your time. I hope you learned something. That is the introduction to my session. Jazakallah for listening and Jazakallah for being here. Why I said it's an introduction? Because each one of these topics can be expanded. This is a course in itself, technology and the Dawah. For me, the difficulty was not what to say, but what not to say, what to leave out. I had to leave out so much because I didn't want to bombard you, so you go to back home with your brains all fried up. You wanted to enjoy it. But before we conclude, we still got about 8 minutes. Any questions? Anybody's got any inputs? Yes, sorry.
I guess give this example for the 4 or 5 websites or programs like Khan Academy, Mathematics. It's very important and very useful. If we for IPCI, for example, we have to coordinate with them. I think IPCI, if they put some of that link or program, it will be a technique to turn people, even non-Muslim, or Arabic. Sometimes they are testing for Dawah, they're testing of other languages. Arab language is very beautiful language. So when you put all this, some of this needed Dawah website or main website would be good for Dawah.
It will be very, very good, inshallah. Extremely good. I think Mr. IPCI himself is sitting there, and we'll take this forward. I believe that sometimes the strongest dawah is the one you never said a word. Like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the old woman who was leaving Makkah. I don't know if you guys know that story. In the heat of Makkah, he sees this lady. He says, "Mother, come, let me carry your bag for you." And they're walking, and he's asking her, "Why are you leaving Makkah?" And she said, "Because of this person, Muhammad, such a bad person, Na'uz Billah, and he's corrupting the youth, and he's brought this new religion." And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never said a word. The lady didn't know that the person she's speaking to is the person she's speaking about. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, only when he finished, she asked him, "What's your name?" She said, "My name is Muhammad." Without a word, she made shahada right there. So dawah through actions, through empowerment, through websites like cups of tea, etc. I think that will be very, very powerful. At least if and I'm building on what you are saying, Saud. These are just my thoughts. If a person doesn't at that moment accept Islam, but he'll always or she'll always have the soft spot for Muslim, that sometime in the future she'll remember that, hey, it was a Muslim that assisted me. It was a Muslim that did this for me. So for the rest of their lives, they'll always see Muslims in a good light. And that's still better than we can in the situation that we have currently. Brilliant input. Anybody else? Generally, there's a fear of the unknown. People don't know this technology, they're afraid of this technology, so then they speak out against it. But once they understand the power that it presents, once they understand when you harness this technology, what you can do, I think they'll definitely come on board. Advocate, I want you to say something.
What do you say about?
Tell us how we can.
In what context? In the context of technology.
Technology. Where do we need to be more active, in your opinion, as far as using technology for good?
In fact, I'm also falling into that older category who haven't been come up with this. So recent innovations going on to Facebook and Twitter and things. From an older perspective, we are free. one thing that is holding me back from getting into Facebook and things is, again, you are out there in the public. So anyone wants to know anything about Muhammad Rai, they press a button and his whole life is exposed.